So you've applied for the PPP, and you've not heard back from your major bank. You've applied with a big bank. You've applied with Chase. You applied with Bank of America, and they've not responded back to you. And you think everything is fine. Well, everything is not fine. Basically, not hearing back is a dead ringer that you need to go elsewhere, but you don't know where to go. You think you've done it right, and yet this video here is to explain you've done everything wrong. Basically, a bank that tells you to wait in line, your space in line is secure, is leading you on. They are leading you on, and it's time for you to go elsewhere. But where do you go? How do you apply? What do you need to know? What type of information should you have ready? What documents should you have ready? And what banks are writing for you? What banks are writing for you? That's the big question. And this video is here to explain what no one is explaining to you. Basically, that this whole process is a lot more discretionary than anyone is admitting. So let's back up. Let's go to the very beginning. When Treasury and SBA announced PPP, everyone thought that when they read the line items of eligibility criteria and they said, hey, I qualify, they thought they're done. They thought, okay, I will go to my bank, my business bank that I've done business with for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. I have 3 accounts with them. Maybe I have 2 big banks I do business with. Maybe it's Chase, maybe it's Bank of America. I will go to them and I'll apply for the PPP because they will take care of me. I do a lot of business with them and they will take care of me. The truth of the matter is no. No. And it's hard to say, but it's sort of like a girlfriend that is breaking up with you. They're not going to take care of you. They have enjoyed your relationship over the years, but when it comes to PPP, they're not going to take care of you. So how do you know if they're not going to take care of you? You know, basically, if you don't have an application in place at the time of this video. If you're watching this video and you have applied to a big bank, Bank of America, Chase, and you've not heard back, you have not gotten a confirmed application, then you know you've been let on. And it's hard to believe that, but it's true. This video is telling you where you go, what you do, how you apply, and how fast you move. It's not rocket science. It's more a learning curve and an eligibility issue. So let's go back to the very beginning. When SBA announced the PPP, it had a line item of eligibility criteria. If you read through it, and this video is not going to go over that, if you read the eligibility criteria and you think you qualify for a PPP loan, then you're probably right. The problem is, and no one is going to tell you until you hear this video, what this video is going to tell you is the following. Get ready. Some banks are going to write for you, and some are not. It's as simple as that. If you think that every bank is writing for everyone, they aren't. So what does that mean? What is he talking about? What I'm referring to is the following. If you are a corporation or an LLC and you have W-2 employees and you apply, and your neighbor also applies, but your neighbor is an LLC that has W-9 employees. What are W-9? I'll get that to a second. W-9 independent contractors. He does not have W-2s. He has W-9 independent contractors. You both apply to the same big bank. You've both done business with the same big bank for 10 years. You both think you qualify. You do qualify. Guess what? The big bank may write you, but not write your neighbor. Why is that? The answer is because they don't want to write one type of PPP, they want to write another, and they have the right to do so. So what does that mean? So let's slow this down. Basically, if you think you qualify and you go through the application process and you do not get a confirmed application, you do not hear anything back, that's a bad signal. Do not sit around. This video is telling you not to sit around. You need to move. You need to start following what this video is going to explain to you. So what does that mean? What happened was, basically, and no one has explained this until this video, what happened basically is that these lenders, these people who are writing the PPP loans, decided we are going to write PPP loans for this type of business, and yet the bank down the street is going to say, I'll write for that type of business, and then the bank down the street will say, I will write for the next type of business. Banks have a right to say to you that they're not going to write for you, but they're going to write for your neighbor next door. So what does that mean? Let's back this up. Basically, there are a lot of different types of businesses that qualify for a PPP loan. There are corporations, LLCs, that have W-2 employees that pay payroll tax. Then your neighbor may be a corporation or an LLC, but he doesn't have W-2s. And he doesn't have employees. He has W-9s. He has W-9 independent contractors. By having a W-9 independent contractor, what does that mean? He does not do payroll tax. So what happens then is the process is different. And what does that mean? Well, let's take the third example. There might be an accountant. An accountant who's the third neighbor on the street that you work at. He's a self-employed individual. His business is Larry Clark Accounting Firm. And Larry Clark files a Schedule C with his personal Social Security number every year. He doesn't file an EIN. He's not a corporation. He's not an LLC. But he qualifies for PPP. So let's back up. What's going to happen? You have your operation, which is a W-2 operation. You have your neighbor who's a W-9, and you have Larry Clark, who's a Schedule C self-employed individual. When you all go to apply at the same business, they're going to write you or not write you in a different way. Basically, what's going on here, and this is important for you to understand, is that some banks are choosing not to write for one type of business, but to write for another. Now, you're going to say, wait a second, he can't say that to me in this video. Yeah, I am saying that to you in this video. Because the banks have the right to do that. They have the right not to choose who they are going to provide a loan to. And because you think you qualify, which you probably do, because you think you qualify, doesn't mean your bank can write for you. They can elect not to write for you. So what does that mean? It means the following. This is what you got to focus on. Some banks are writing for certain types of businesses. Other banks are writing for other types of businesses. You need to understand that when it comes to applying, you need to perhaps look elsewhere. You need to perhaps look elsewhere. What do? The short answer is very simple. You need to apply everywhere. You need to apply everywhere. Because some businesses, some banks have chosen to write for W-2 employee operation businesses. Some banks have chosen to write for W-9 operation businesses. Some banks have chosen to write for Larry Clark self-employed accountant businesses. And some banks have chosen not to write at all. And you think, oh, that's outrageous. How dare they do that? Well, they're doing it. So don't get frustrated. Look elsewhere. And how many places can you look? You can look as many places as you want. That's the wonder of this application process. You can apply for a PPP loan in 5 places, 10 places, 20 places. You can apply for a PPP loan in as many places as you want. And this video is going to explain to you that you submit the application in as many places that this video tells you where to go. You wait, and hopefully you hear an answer. And you know what's the best answer is, sorry, we don't write for you. That's a great answer because you scratch them off the list. They're gone. You know what also you scratch off the list? Someone who doesn't get back to you. If they say to you, you know what, Your space in line has been saved for you. Enjoy your space in line. We will get back to you shortly. And you know what? The next day you get the same email. Your space in line has been saved for you. Enjoy the space in line for you. We have a space in line for you saved. That's a bad signal. That means it's time to look elsewhere. What does that mean? It means you apply as many places as you can apply while you sit around and wait for the responses to come in. What you do not do is the following. You do not file one application and sit back and go on Twitter and say, how dare you not respond to me? Go to the branch manager and say, how dare you not treat me correctly? Because it's going to get you nowhere. Because your neighbor is going to find the lender, the bank that's going to write for you, and you're going to be sitting around wondering, but I was on Twitter complaining. It ain't going to help for you. So what type of information do you need to have ready when you apply for a PPP? This video is going to explain to you. When you go to apply for a PPP, whether your business is X or your business is C or your business is E, the same documents are going to be asked of you. So get them ready. First of all, they're going to ask for you a certain amount of information. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult whatsoever. You can do this. This is the type of information you need to have ready. Get a pen and paper ready. You need the name of your business, the legal name of your business. If it's something LLC, the legal name of the business. The physical address of the business. The mailing address of the business. Pretty easy. The EIN. This is the number that appears on the tax return for the business. The EIN of the business. If you file the business returns as a Schedule C on your individual tax return, then your Social Security number you have to have ready. You have to know the organizational structure. What does that mean? What is he talking about? Basically, is there one owner of the business? Is there two owners of the business? What is the percentage? You need to have that ready. You need to know their Social Security number. So if your brother owns 50% and you own 50%, you need to know your brother's Social Security number because it's going to ask you for that. You need to have the email addresses ready for your brother. If he owns 50%, you need to have his physical address ready. Very simple stuff. Nothing unusual. Okay, so you get to the calculation. When you get to the calculation, you need to understand what's going on here. And this is so simple, but it seems so complex. Some lenders will ask you to provide them your payroll per month. Another lending side will ask you to provide them your payroll on an annual basis. So don't be confused. When you look at the answer, focus and see whether the lender's asking you to provide salary information on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. And you know what? Don't worry, because if you make a mistake, you can press the back button. You can always press the back button, because you know what's going to happen is basically you misunderstood the question. You thought it was annual, you thought it was monthly, and then you see that the loan that you are qualified for is $100. $100? Wait a second, why am I only qualified for $100? You know why? Because you misunderstood the question. You thought it was annual, you thought it was monthly, blah, 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 blah. So pay attention to the question. When you go to answer what you're going to use the money for, this is also important. It's going to say payroll. It has to be at least 75% for payroll. It's also going to ask you this. And there's going to be an other button, other, O-T-H-E-R, other. Click that button and put in insurance. Insurance. Because you definitely have insurance. You have either business insurance or property insurance or both insurance. That qualifies under PPP to get submitted. So click the button Other and put in the word insurance. All right, what type of documents should you have ready? Not so difficult, not so complex. Have this all ready on your computer. What are the documents you need to have ready? You need to have ready the front and back of the driver's license of the person who is applying for the PPP. Most of the lending sites are going to ask this. You need to have probably the February 2020 banking statement for the business, at least the front page. You will probably be asked to provide one of the checks of your business as of February 2020. Most of the lenders will also ask you to provide the front of the tax return from 2019. They will also perhaps ask you to provide a ledger or some type of financial information to support your claim for the loan. What does that mean? It basically means get all these documents ready. You should be relatively savvy or decently savvy with being able to scan documents on your computer. Get that scanner queued up. Scan the documents. Combine the documents as one PDF, hopefully. Get them ready. Get them on your computer. Get them in a file because it's going to ask, hey, what's your driver's license front and back? It's going to ask that. It's going to ask, let me see this. Get them all ready. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this for a simple purpose. That when you go to apply at a lot of lenders, they're all going to basically ask the same question. So you need to have that document ready. And when does this come up? At the end of the application process. They're going to ask you to upload your documents. It's the same documents they always ask. So have those documents ready. At the end of the application process, have your documents ready.